Hi, everyone. It's Lisa D'Alessio from Love Your Body University, and I am so happy to present our very first interview. And today I have the lovely Casey Stevens Hewlett, who's a very, very good friend and also an awesome woman. She is, let me make sure I get all this in. She's a lifestyle coach. She is a licensed psychotherapist. Some of the cool things she does is she actually leads soul strolling groups through Paris, and she's a best-selling author. And one of the main reasons I wanted to invite her today is because she's got a best-selling book coming out in September. You know it's a bestseller.
I love it here. I was almost going to correct you, but I'm like, nope, we're going to go with that.
So Casey, I would love if you would tell us a little bit about the book, without spoiler alerts, but just tell us a little bit about the book.
Okay. Lisa, it's a story about three women, and one is an insecure perfectionist.
Mm-hmm.
The other is a guilt-ridden artist. And the third is what I call a child woman who talks to peacocks.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And it's set in the Pacific Northwest and a fantasy island called Towsey. Which is the Blue Land.
Blue Land. Okay. So, and the name of this book is?
It is Blue.
Blue. Okay.
And I happen to have a copy right here. There we go.
Authors get such cool things like that.
I know. So,
Casey, you and I have known each other for a while, and when I think of you, and every time I see you, there's this vibrancy around you. There's like, and I always think Casey is associated with the color red.
Okay.
But you went blue for this book, and I'm really curious about what blue means to you in your life and what you've learned since you've published the book, or since you wrote the book.
Yeah, that is such a great question, Lisa, because I was talking to someone the other day, and blue is not necessarily my go-to color. It's not something that I fill my closet with, although lately it is, because, seems to be showing up more and more.
Yes.
But the process of this book was really fascinating because I had never written a novel before, and I had these characters kind of bubbling around in my brain. And I literally, the morning that I was starting the book, because I did it as part of a writing, it wasn't really a contest, but it was National Novel Writing Month. Mm-hmm. And so you start on November 1st. So I literally woke up on November 1st, and this color blue was all I could think about. Wow. And literally before I got out of bed, I started to write, and it ended up being the first chapter of the book.
Wow.
And so the color showed up. And so the question about what's happening now is really fascinating because I'm starting, as I look back and as people like you start to ask me these questions, I'm finding where and how blue is showing up in my life.
Fascinating. Now, I know that somebody, we actually have a Facebook group going to support Blue because we're avid fans of you and your writing. Mm-hmm. And somebody posted a link about blue being the color of the throat chakra. And I'm into the body. I'm so into, the energy systems in the body. So what have you learned about your voice from writing this book?
Well, it's a lot.
I've read these questions beforehand.
So this is great. Well, what's really fascinating is that the person sent me that piece that day and talking about the throat chakra, and blue is the color of the throat chakra. And somewhere in my body, I knew that, but I had forgotten that. Now, voice has always been really challenging for me. And as I was growing up, I was known as the shy one and the one who didn't have anything to say. And so, but as you know, you've known me, and I have done lots of work, my own personal work. I love working with other people and helping them find their voice. But what's really like current for me right now is since I got back from a trip in the end of May, And my goal was to spend the summer launching Blue. Well, since that time, I have had this little thing in my throat, and it's not going away. And so I am continuing to pay a lot of attention to that. I'm looking for a little window of time to find someone to actually work with me on that. And when I go to yoga and the teacher asks, is there any part of the body? And I'm like, my throat, my throat. And so I've been doing some things. So Blue is really stirring up a lot for me around this idea of voice, because I'm speaking more now. I actually want to do an audio recording. And I don't think my voice, like just my actual sound of my voice, sounds like me right now because of this thing going on. And so it's fascinating. So I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to explore it. It may come out, who knows, maybe it's the sequel of the book that's trying to, I don't know, make its way. Because these characters have a lot to say, I think. So,
yeah. So in the book, you have a character that does have body image issues. Can you say a little bit more about her?
Yes. There's, the body image is what's fascinating. Is there's one character who actually has tried to remain hidden her whole life. And the way she dresses,
so many of us, right?
Yeah, so many of us. And so that's why I think these characters are really relatable, because we've been there. But she really tries to kind of disappear. And so she's one character. So the fascinating thing, though, is that there's another character that's a bit more flamboyant. She's an artist, and everyone really adores her, and she's putting her work out into the world. And she starts to have these body manifestations. Her body starts to speak to her. And so it surprises her, because she's a really healthy woman and all these things, and her body starts to speak to her. So part of the story is her and the reader finding out what's going on.
Wow.
That's causing, because she's actually, and this is early in the book, and it's actually on the back of the book too, I think, but she's a doula, so she actually helps people birth children.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And during a childbirth, this is her very first chapter, when the woman is going through labor, she starts to have labor pains.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so that's the story. And so you have these two side-by-side women, and they're both really learning about, I think, becoming more visible.
Absolutely. And so many of us can relate to that. Hiding ourselves because we're afraid of how people are going to perceive our bodies.
Yes.
Literally hiding away,
Yes.
Not going out, or wearing colors that are very drab, or, not speaking up. And so, Casey, when you were talking about your, having this thing in your throat, it's got to be uncomfortable. So I'm wondering how you deal with that discomfort on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I really try to stay grounded in my normal practices.
Okay.
And I mentioned yoga before. I'm a great believer in finding those practices that ground us. For me, yoga is one. Walking and or soul strolling is another. I find literally putting my feet into the ground is very grounding. And I have a mantra that's come back for me. I used it, actually, it's so funny talking to you. I realized it was one I used a lot while I was actually writing the book. And it was that I could be grounded and open.
Beautiful.
And so I think that that's allowing me to continue to open my voice, to continue to stay grounded and to find those places. And when I do that, the discomfort really kind of goes away.
Okay.
But it's in these situations where like I feel like I'm in the spotlight, and I was like, really want to clear my throat, and it's just like, ah. and so coming back to those practices where I know that I feel safe, I feel at home, I feel myself, and that really does ease that sense of discomfort.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So you know that our audience is about loving your body, and especially the moms out there who are raising daughters.
Yes.
And so if you had a tip that you would like to share with our audience, what would that tip be?
Oh, what came to my mind is to stay true to yourself. And sometimes that takes a little uncovering to find who you are. And that's where this sense of continuing to use your voice. I found a lot of my voice in writing because it was again one of those safe places. But there's something really powerful about being vulnerable and actually sharing what's going on, sharing your fear, sharing your concern, and maybe it's sharing it on the page with yourself. And then you take a step and you share it with a trusted friend.
Yes.
And then you find a group like you offer and you share it there. So it's that sense of really starting to trust. And every time you trust yourself, that trust in yourself that you can do bigger things, it's like a muscle and you're growing it, and it's strengthening who you are.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
And one of the things I have to say is that I've really admired about watching you go through this process from, finishing the book to sending it to the editor, to sending it to the publisher, getting your book cover. All of this is that you have been such a model of asking for help.
Oh,
and I just watched all of these women coming out of the woodwork to support you and to hold you up and to love you, because I know you're going through a birthing process.
Yeah.
You're the doula right now, and you're helping to birth this book.
Yes.
And it's been such a remarkable piece to witness.
Thank you.
All of the women supporting you. So I just want to applaud you and to congratulate you for this bestseller that's coming out.
Yeah. I like the sound of that. Thanks so much.
If one of our readers want, or if one of our family here wants to order your book, what's the best way to do that?
Well, it's available on Amazon. That's the easiest to go to. Okay. But it's also available through BQB Publishing.
Okay.
Which is my publisher. And you can go into any independent bookstore and ask them to get it for you, and they can easily do that. Wonderful. And I love supporting the independent bookstores. So
okay. And will you hold up the book for us one more time?
Yes, I will.
Beautiful. Hi, Blue. And when is the release date?
The release date is September 10th.
It's coming up. Yay.
Coming right up. Coming right up. So very exciting. Very exciting.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today, Casey. I just love what you're doing. I love that you're creating this, and it's so inspirational. And now it's like, because I'm writing a book, and I'll be calling you for advice.
Absolutely, absolutely. It takes a village.
It does. It really does. So thank you again for joining us.
Okay, thanks so much, Lisa.
Everybody watching, to all of the members of Love Your Body University, I just wanted to say thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us, and I'll talk to you again soon. Okay. Bye.
Bye.